This is scary. This happened to a guy I know. Well, actually, this happened to my friend Arjun. Arjun moved into his uncle's old house in Darjeeling. It's this colonial bungalow, you know, the kind with a really long porch and peeling paint and red soil all around. Perfect for a spooky story, right? So while exploring the house, Arjun went into the attic. It was filled with trunks, old furniture, cobwebs, the usual attic stuff. And that's when he saw it, hanging on the wall, an old wooden mask. He took it down. It was carved with hollow eyes and a twisted smile. Looked tribal, ancient. Even hanging from it was a small tag that read, "Never wear it after midnight." He laughed. What a weird thing to say. Probably some bored teenager. He hung it on his bedroom wall, right above his bed. That night, he woke up at 3:12 a.m. to whispering. At first, it was just a murmur. He thought maybe it was the wind outside or maybe a mouse in the wall, but then the whispers grew louder each night. They were definitely coming from the mask. He could feel the vibrations in the wooden frame beneath his bed, the words he couldn't understand, guttural words that made his skin crawl. Sometimes he'd wake up to see shadows in the corner of his room stretching and contorting, and every time he entered the room, the temperature would drop several degrees. One night, lying in bed, he decided it was all nonsense. He got up, walked over to the mask and stared at it. The whispering was at its loudest tonight. He reached out, touched the cool wood, then pulled it off the wall. The moment he did, the whispering stopped. He held the mask in his hands, turned it over, examined it closely, but there was nothing on the back. Suddenly, he felt a cold breath on his neck. He whipped around, but there was nothing there. He tried to tell himself it was all in his head, that it was just an old mask that probably looked creepy because of the flickering light from the neon sign outside. Yeah, that's it. Old creepy, definitely not haunted. So that night, he wore the mask. Maybe it would feel like a costume if he put it on. Maybe he'd even get a good night's sleep. He put it on at exactly 12:01 a.m. Nothing happened. He waited. The seconds ticked by. He started to doze off. Then he heard a soft thud. He opened his eyes. Still nothing. Sighing, he took the mask off. But in that 1 second between taking the mask off and putting it back on the hook, everything changed. The room was gone. He wasn't in his bed anymore. He was lying on the cold, hard ground. The mask lay a few feet away. He scrambled back, sat up, and looked around. He was in a jungle, dark, dense, dead silent. Moonlight filtered through the thick canopy above, painting dancing patterns on the forest floor. But what really caught Arjun off guard was the dozens of figures standing around him. They were all wearing the same mask, the one he had taken off his face just seconds ago. Their bodies were a blur, but he could see their faces clearly. The twisted smiles, the hollow eyes. They were chanting softly, almost rhythmically. And as he watched, their mouths opened in unison. The sound of their voices filled the clearing. Arjun screamed. Of course, they didn't respond. The mask in his hand twitched. He dropped it, stumbled back, tripped over a tree root and fell. Scrambling to his feet, he ran. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs ached. Then he slowed down, gasping for breath. All around him, the jungle seemed to writhe and twist. Thorny vines reached out, grasping at his clothes. Tree roots snaked across his path. The whispers grew louder, more urgent. Put it back on, they hissed. He couldn't understand the words, but the meaning was clear. Morning arrived, bringing with it a sliver of hope. The jungle thinned and Arjun found himself in a clearing. Before him stood the old colonial bungalow, bathed in the golden light of sunrise. Relief flooded him, but it was short-lived. As he approached the house, he noticed something. There was no door. To the veranda, only a gaping hole where the door should have been. Hope turned to dread. He knew that door. He'd opened it every morning for the past week. Now it was gone. And as he stared at the hole, his heart sank. The next morning, Arjun's room was empty. No sign of him. Just the mask hanging on the wall again, swaying gently in the breeze, whispering to someone new. If you want to hear more scary stories, stay tuned. Until next time, don't believe everything you see and always question what you hear, especially if it's coming from a wooden mask. Thanks for watching.